Welcome to this episode of the GymInformer podcast. I'm Chris Gilbert, your host for this episode. And today our guest is Jason May, the owner of Flex Fitness in Kansas City, Missouri. This is really a truly badass bodybuilding gym. I got a chance to work out there just a few weeks ago. Really excited to talk to Jason about the gym. But before we get started, let me take a pause and I'll show you the photos I took of the gym. All right, Jason, excited about talking to the gym, talking to you about the gym. It's really badass. Before we get into talking about the gym, can you tell everybody, like, how did you become a gym owner? What was your path in becoming a gym owner?
Okay, for sure. Well, I was the personal trainer for a long time outside of out of college. So I was personal trainer for probably 10 years before I venture off to try to do my own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, what made me really look into starting something was, being an independent contractor trainer you're paying that gym rent every month.
Yeah.
And I was at a location where the gym rent just kept going up every month, depending on however many people I trained, the rent never capped out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so for me, I'm like, man, I'm paying, 12, $1,300 a month in rent. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I can own my own spot. And so across the street from the gym I was at, there was a little tiny, I don't know, box gym, you will, studio, whatever you want to call it. It was empty. And so I ended up calling the guy. I was like, hey man, I'm just curious about this little office space. Like, how much is it a month? And he was like, well, it's $1,200. And I was like, oh, that's what I pay in rent for being at this gym. And so that made me kind of look at other opportunities on
Mm-hmm.
being more running my own ship, I would say, versus working for somebody else.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I started a little 1,200 square foot personal training studio. That's where it all started. I started with stability bands and uh medicine balls. That's all I had in there.
Oh,
Right. And so I literally started from nothing, and I built the gym uh from just, we had the studio. I was there for 2 years, and then I went to a bigger location that was like 2,500 square feet. I was there for another 2 years, roughly. And then I ended up moving to where we're currently at, and I expanded 3 times since I've been at this location. So we're right under 20,000 square feet.
okay. Yeah, there's three. There's three different separate sections of the gym, so you can
Hmm.
tell where you expanded each time.
Yeah, yeah.
So is the upper body section where you started?
Yeah, the upper body is where we started. So that was just like a full gym.
Mm-hmm. That's not small just by itself.
Yeah, no, it was a big jump for us, but we knew that we had the member base to do it because at our previous location we was like packed to the max, and I had no room to put any equipment in there. It was just like, like we talked about when you was there, it's like the horns were like side by side. You couldn't like hardly move. It was that crowded.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of my biggest pet peeves. I can't function in gyms like that. So we had no option but to move to a bigger location.
Yeah, yeah. I've been to quite a few gyms that they have amazing equipment, and the gym owners like pack it with great equipment, but you can't
Hmm.
move around. And you can't work out next to someone, like it makes it a challenge and actually kind of like detracts from the overall like atmosphere and the way you feel about the gym.
Yeah, it makes the flow of the gym kind of like go away, you know. And so then, you know, the worst thing is like when you're walking through a gym and you don't see it and your leg hits a horn, like on the horns on your shin. That's like the
Yep.
worst thing ever.
Oh yeah, I've had that big like gouge in my leg a few times,
Right?
especially on
It's
some of those
terrible.
especially some of those older hamstring pieces that have that little piece down at the bottom. It's just that thin piece of metal to like hold your feet or put your feet on.
Hmm.
Oh, that sucks.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
to
and that
talk
you know
about,
that.
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead. It's cool.
All right. So to get into talking about the gym, you've
Hmm.
got a really cool mix of equipment. You got some old school equipment, you got some new school equipment. And obviously you said it's almost 20,000 square feet. So it's not like you have to be super selective about what you're putting in there. But at this
Hmm.
point, you've got so much equipment. I'm assuming if you added something else, you'd probably take something out. So if you could talk to us a little bit about what is your thought process and your decision making process on how do you decide what's going in the gym? Like,
So I always tell people like the gym, the equipment I put in the gym is like my personal, like what I've trained on and what I've tried, you know. And so it's coming from a standpoint of what's ideal for training, not because it looks cool, is because what's the benefit behind it. And so I think a lot of people now get caught up in that what looks cool versus what is actually works well. And so
right.
that's kind of like what I go off when it comes to selecting pieces. And of course, you know, old school pieces are the best pieces. You know, there's nothing that can really beat those. You know,
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And just for anybody who doesn't know, Jason is an IFBB Pro. So he probably knows what he's talking about.
right? I've been training for a long time.
So then the atmosphere in the gym is really interesting because you've got three different sections, and while they all like flow well, each section kind of has a little bit of a different feel.
Mhm.
Um, was that on purpose?
My biggest thing when it came to the gym was I wanted to create a gym that when you walked in, you felt motivated on your worst tired days. And
Hmm.
so that's one of the things that we really strive for is when you walk in, you have no choice but to train. And so each gym, you know, I kind of did the graffiti, and each gym has its own set of graffiti on the wall to give it its own character, each room.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of cool how each gym did have its own little bit of a character.
Hmm.
Um, like the middle gym, the middle one's got all the bodybuilding legends, right?
Yeah, right.
And then the first gym's got a bunch of graffiti and
Hmm.
the big giant flex logo, and then it's got the big mural of you, which is kind of
Hmm.
cool. So
Right.
yeah, I thought it was cool how each one had a little bit different flair.
Oh yeah.
And then from an organization standpoint, like was it challenging to figure out how to organize three different spaces?
Uh, Not really. I just know me personally, when I go into a gym, I don't like things. I don't want to use one chess piece to have to walk all the way over to another chess piece. And so my goal was to make sure everything was grouped together for the people that really don't know how to train yet or learning how to train, that they can literally go down a line and hit their chest 10 different ways, you know?
Right.
And so that's why we have just a leg room where they literally can start at one end of the leg room and go down, which they probably wouldn't make it all the way down because it's a lot of heavy compound movements,
Yeah.
but they can train without even knowing what they're really doing.
Hmm. And you've got enough equipment you could go in on multiple different days and not
Hmm.
hit the same piece of equipment.
Right.
So that was pretty cool, and it's a big variety too. So that was
Hmm.
awesome. Um,
Yeah.
so we've talked about several things and quite a few things that you guys are doing really well, and I love the gym, so you're doing quite a bit of stuff well. Is there something you feel like you wish you were doing better, or something you feel like, man, I wish that was something we were doing better as a gym or as a gym owner?
Uh, I think, when it comes to owning the gym, you're always trying to evolve and figure out ways to enhance your gym for your member base. And that's one of the things that we're really big on is that we try to always listen to our members when it comes to what they want and what they want to see happen in the gym.
Mhm.
And so for us, the biggest thing next, I think, for the gym is, is finding maybe a bigger location that's more open for us. Because there's not really much more I can do when it comes to expanding in the location that we're currently at, because there's a lot of other businesses already in the building.
Mhm.
And and one of the biggest things was like, one of the things I've learned is I would never do epoxy floor ever again.
Yeah, I was at when I was over at Caleb's gym. He was actually talking about he had talked to you about that, and you told
Yeah.
him it was a terrible idea. And I've actually seen
Yeah.
the same epoxy floor you have in some other gyms since I've been in
Uh,
your gym, and it was peeling in those gyms as well.
it's
So
terrible, man. You drop like a 2.5 pound plate on there and it chips it. I'm like, it's like babysitting the gym 24/7. I'm like, I'm never do this again.
yes, yeah, I've seen multiple gyms with epoxy floors, and they're all peeling.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're thinking about epoxy floors, no.
Oh, no.
So you mentioned my next question was going to be what's the future for Flex Fitness, and you
Hmm.
mentioned a bigger space. Will there ever be a second Flex, or are you a one gym guy?
I get that all the time about opening another location. And one of my biggest things is I feel like because I can't be at both locations at the same time.
Mhm.
I feel like that it devalues my brand and what I've created if I have multiple locations.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, you look at the gyms that are elite, like if you look at like Bev Francis Powerhouse or
Mhm.
Go to Venice, there's only one location, and people are willing to drive to that one location because the
Yep.
gym's that good. And so
Mhm.
I kind of want to keep it that way, and just keep growing the gym and making it that much better for people to see the value and drive to our gym regardless where they live at.
No, I totally respect that. And I, when we had Steve from Bev's on his
Mhm.
podcast, he was like, "I will never have a second gym." He's like, "I can tell it when I'm not here, even though I have great employees. I can tell a difference when I'm here and when I'm not here."
Oh, 100%.
You know, and that's one of the things. Like the gym, people don't understand how important the gym owner is to the culture of the gym. Like
Hmm.
you guys set the culture and you guys create the culture. And if you're not, no matter how much your employees buy into that culture, it's not their gym.
Exactly. Exactly. We kind of, people, come to our gym solely because of, who we are and what we created. And so if that's gone, then the gym's kind of losing the value of what it literally was.
Oh, 100%. Um, so having how long have you had the gym now? It's been several years.
So we started, like, my studio was started in 2015.
Mhm.
And we've been a full, like, operating gym going on 5 years.
Okay, so I'm assuming in 5 years you've learned quite a bit about
Oh,
being a
yeah.
gym owner. Is there some advice or a piece of advice or a couple pieces of advice that you would want to give to someone who's thinking about opening a gym?
I think my biggest advice, man, honestly, is being patient. I think a lot of these people that open gym nowadays want the whole shebang right out the gate, and it puts them in a mind where they got to think about, okay, I got to have X amount of members per month to keep my door open. I got to pay back this loan on this equipment I got to do. And so one of the biggest things that I've done over the course of the 5 years of owning the gym is I paid cash for all my equipment. So I have no debt. And so the only debt that I'm paying is the rent for the building. And so I think that's a big thing, is setting yourself up for success regardless on how many members you have. You able to still to keep your door open and kind of figure out and navigate on, like, marketing and what things that need to be done to grow your gym versus worrying about making payments every month to other people that keep your door open.
Oh, that's super smart. So, and then are you still training?
Yeah, I do online training too.
Mhm.
I have about 10 to 12 in-person clients I do. I don't do near as much training as I used to, just because the gym pulls us a different direction.
Mhm.
Uh but I still enjoy that. So my day starts at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning every day.
Oh, wow. Wow. I thought I was early getting up before.
Yeah, I'm up early, man. I'm always at the gym by 5 a.m. and so I'm there for pretty much half the day, and then I let our manager come in, at around 3, and he runs to the night shift.
Wow. So yeah, it's great that you're there every day and present. And
Hmm.
because even when I was walking around the gym, I know you were there the day I was there, but
Hmm.
walking around the gym, you could ask people like, "Hey, what do you think about Jason?" Everybody was like, "Oh, Jason's great. Like he's always making the gym better and making improvements." So, you know, I would say like if I walk around the gym and I'm like, "Hey, what do you guys think about Jason?" They're like, "Who's Jason?" It's probably not a very good thing.
Right, that's terrible, right? I always
Yeah,
tell people.
if nobody knows who the donor is, it's that's definitely not a good sign.
And that's what you get with those commercial gyms. Like you never see the owner ever. You don't know who even owns the place. You like
Mhm.
who owns this gym, And so that's a big thing. I want to be forefront when it comes to what's going on with the gym, and I want people to know who I am and know I'm the owner. Because we constantly still to this day we're still constantly improving, and I have several other pieces in the works that's coming to the gym that I gotta figure out where I'm gonna put those, rearrange some other pieces and stuff like that.
Awesome. Are there some pieces on your dream list that you wish you could get a hold of?
Uh, let's see. Man, I don't know really. Like I have all the leverage pieces pretty much. The only one I don't have is the seated shoulder press plate load. Uh, I have most of the strive pieces. The only thing
Mhm.
I would like is a strive lateral raise selector rise.
Oh
Those are
yeah.
those are hard ones to come by.
Uh huh. Do you have? I don't remember because we didn't do legs. We were doing upper body the day we were in the gym. Do you have the Gen One Body Master hack squat?
No, I have seen a couple of them for sale, and I've been kind of like hesitant on jumping on one. But I have the Atlantis Power Hack Squad coming, and
Yeah,
so I gotta
the
make room
big
for
giant
that
one.
thing. Huh?
That big giant one.
Yeah, yeah. I ended up buying that
Yeah, that was really.
just because I hear a lot of good things about it and how smooth it is, and so.
Yeah, it's really smooth. I'll tell you though, if you can get that Gen One Body Master at a good price, that of all the gyms I've been to and all the hack squats I've used, because
Hmm.
being my age and playing sports as long as I did, and my knees are not what
Yeah.
they used to be. And that Gen 1 Body Master is the only hack squat that I've been able to use and get really deep and doesn't bother my knees at all. So that thing
Oh,
is
that's
love
that's
that.
nice. The crazy thing with me, man, I played ball and stuff growing up and all that too, and the Cybex hack squat. Some reason I have no joint pain, no joint pain on that thing.
Oh, nice. The old one or the
Yeah, the old one that we have. Yeah,
there's a big difference between the old one and the new one after Life Fitness bought them out.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a gym right around where I live that has that new one, and no,
Right, right.
yeah, it's crazy. I have to like modify the shit out of it just to be able to use it.
Yeah, that's the big thing with me is, man, is comfort. I want to feel comfortable and not have pain when I'm using a piece of equipment, and so that's what I usually do with the gym. I'll watch all the pieces and make sure they're getting utilized, and if they're not getting utilized, I'll pull it out and put something else in.
Yeah, no, that's smart, and that's something you can do since you're there.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, well, I appreciate you coming on. Is there anything else that you wanted to tell anybody about Flex before we sign off?
Uh, I have to stay on the watch for us, man. We're constantly growing and bringing new pieces of equipment in, and constantly, trying to get our name out there as one of the top gyms when it comes to, not necessarily just bodybuilding, but coming, feeling motivated and wanting to train hard. I'm all about training hard, so that's what the gym comes from.
Yeah, it definitely felt like that. It definitely gave you that like you better be ready to work when you walk in here with that.
Exactly, exactly.
So I appreciate you coming on. Thank you for your time, and good luck with the future of the gym. It was awesome.
It was great having you out, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, and definitely let me know when you get that new location, and I'll definitely
Oh,
come.
for sure. Oh, for sure.
All right, thank you.
Yep, yep.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more great content.